Okay, in this tutorial I'm going to configure PPP with PAP on these two routers on the serial interface links in between these two routers. I'm using Packet Tracer, and this is the type of configuration that you're going to need to know how to do, or you're going to need to know what it looks like and how it works for the Cisco CCNA. Now, in this network that I've set up, in between these two routers we've got the 192.168.50 network, 50.0. This serial interface is 192.168.50.1. This one is 192.168.50.2. Okay, right now we've got green lights on them and they're working because they're exchanging HDLC frames, but we're going to convert it to the encapsulation on the interfaces, the framing to PPP. This network over here is the 10 network. The host is 10.100. The router's 10.0.0.1. And over here we've got the 172.16 network. The host is 100 and the router is 172.16.0.1. Now everything is, everybody can communicate. We can ping across the network because we've got static routes. We have static route on this router and we've got a static route on this router over here so that they can reach each other. Okay, but we're going to see the network go down as we change these serial interfaces and we configure it. We configure PPP with PAP. Okay, so we'll start off by going to this router, and the first thing we're going to need to do is get to global config mode. Okay, so we've got a global config mode, and what's going to happen is with PPP, the routers are going to authenticate with each other, and when they do that, they need a username and password that will authenticate across the network. So I'm in router 1 right now. I need to make a username and password for router 2, and so that when router 2 sends its information across, it can authenticate because router 1 already has its username and password set in it. So I'm going to say username, okay, R2, password Cisco. All right, and that's done. Okay, and now I'm going to go into the interface, serial 2/0, and I'm going to say encapsulation. The IP address is already configured on the interface, so all I need to do is change the encapsulation from HDLC to PPP. So I'm going to say encapsulation PPP, and instantly you'll see that the interface goes down. Right? You can see that message right there showing that the interface went down. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll say, okay, PPP authentication, and then I'm going to put a question mark to see what my choices are. Question mark, and you can see I have two choices, CHAP or PAP. So I'm going to put this time PAP. So PAP, all right. So we've got PAP authentication, and now I'm going to say PPP and then question mark. I'm going to say PAP, right? So the next one is PAP, and then I'll put another question mark, and you can see that the next configuration that we're going to have to set is sent username. And so I'm going to put in sent dash username, and the username that we're going to send across the serial link will be our own username, R1, and then the password will be Cisco. Okay, and I think that's all we need for this router. So we'll close that, okay, and we'll open up this router, and for this router we're going to need to do the same thing. So I'm going to say conf t, which is short for configure terminal. I'm going to say username, the other router's username, R1, password Cisco. Okay, now we've got a username for the R1 router, so it'll be able to authenticate into this router. And then, so now we'll go into the interface, serial 2/0. We'll set the encapsulation to PPP. Okay, then we'll say the PPP authentication tab completion will be PAP. And now what we're going to do is we're going to say PPP question mark PAP SE tab sent username will be this router is going to send the username R2 with a password of Cisco also. All right, and now that should be good. So now that, notice, let's see here. Let's see if we get a message. The interface line protocol and interface serial 2/0 change state up. So everything should work now. So now I should be able to go into this PC, go to the desktop, go to the command prompt, and try to ping across the network to the other host. And let's see if it works. Trying to ping across the network, right? Okay, we got a timeout, but then we're getting replies. So they learned about each other through ARP requests, and now it's working.